Composer Gloves here, and today we're going to be making some Neruofunk. Today we're going to be making the drop. Well, just part of the drop. Honestly, I'm not really sure. I feel like I was thinking about how I wanted to break these videos up. And right now, I'm just going to sort of make a track. Start making a track. Now, they just released FL Studio 12.3. And so it's the final version. I'm no longer using a beta, which is like outrageously new. But it's so, I literally just opened it up. So I need to really quick configure my files. And I want to kind of show you this just to show you why I do it the way I do. So I have a separate folder named project files that I put all my sample stuff in. So if I come over to my D drive, if I go to, what the heck am I doing? Go to this PC, D drive, and then I just select project files and I literally move everything to this folder and I click OK. It pops up, boom, and now all my stuff is right there. So I have pretty much everything already set up, like good to go. That's one reason why you may consider doing it that way. Now, I'm going to start at the drop, and this is going to be a little bit different than just making a track because I'm going to try and be conscious of other workflows and different ways of doing things. And I want to, I have no idea how long these will be, probably pretty long. And right now we're just going to see if we can get some sort of a drop sort of rip section going. And I started the drop because it's usually, I've done both ways, and in drum and bass, it sort of lends itself favorably. I got like something stuck in my chest. It lends itself favorably to both methods. So one lends itself to starting at the beginning and then moving seamlessly into a drop. Oh, and the other one starts, you start at the drop and then you create stuff around it. I find that my drops rock a lot harder usually when I begin with the drop. So I think resampling is in order here. And I'm going to do everything right here. I'm not going to do sort of any separate session stuff. I'm going to do it all in one sort of setting. I haven't come up with a theme for the track yet. Right now, I did a whole bunch of listening, and I know I have this whole thing about getting a vision, which I'm totally not obeying right now because I'm looking to get this more from an academic pursuit than I am from a creative pursuit, which may or may not be a good thing. But anyways, let's just start off with some simple stuff. And now I'm not going to obey any sort of like formal mixing rules right now because I'm just being creative. Most artists I find do that. Also, one other thing I just noticed is that my velocity control is on and I don't want it on. That's what I want. And this is always so friggin' loud, which is a good thing because then you have a great signal, but whatever. So we're going to start out. Let's move in. Oh, you know what? Let's go to view. Another thing. View, keyboard style. What is it? Flat? No, I don't like flat. View. Oh, I could just hit V to get there faster. I should remember that. Classic. I like classic. I'm a classic guy. And there's also another option here. I believe it's in helpers. No, maybe it's still in view. View, key labels. I like all notes. I just like that. I know music theory too. And so just because you use all notes doesn't mean jack. Like, you're just convenient to have them there. So I'm gonna start up higher actually. So we're going to start with that. That's going to be our first note. And so drops, when they hit, the most important thing about a drop is that it just grooves when you get there. So we'll rename this pattern. We're going to name it Big Rip. Big Rip. And this is, so normally they have like some sort of one bar bow and then like down, bow, you know, like a call of some bass and then a bunch of other stuff like a bass and then bow and then it just drives. I'm going for like that sort of funk, like bow, do down, something like that. Like you see, I have something in my head. I just can't really describe it. Now, when I'm doing this though, I'm going to go ahead and do a two bars. That way I have like a little bit to choose from. I may even do 4 later. Probably not though. So I'm gonna just turn on the amount. Now I have tutorials for how to do most of this stuff, so don't worry about it. Another thing is the distortion just doesn't give a friggin' crap. Big Rip. And we're gonna Control L, just bring it down. Because I want to hear it, because sometimes you'll end up doing sound design. Another thing I'm going to change real fast is your limiter will be on by default. Just alt click it to set it so that it doesn't boost stuff unnecessarily. Your distortion, if you hit it clipping against a compressor like it's automatically on in FL, can greatly change the way that you perceive the sound. So later on when you do a mix down, it may mess you up. So if you do it from that position, you're going to want to record it before your mix down. That way you're working with, what you originally had. Because when you turn it down, it'll change the way it hits the compressor, and that could do all sorts of things to your spectrum. So I'm just so you know. But anyways, let's make some sort of a cool rip thing. Now that I'm finally all set up and good to go, I'm going to turn on a little bit of... Turn the sub on. One thing that I really like to do is the harmonic randomness is like one of my favorite things to touch. Like I touch it all the time. We could look at the visualizer, I guess. I don't use it too much these days. I just know what crap does, so I just don't worry about it. But I'm just going to create a little bit of resonance. And I don't want to go too crazy on this sound quite yet. Simply, I'm going to turn up some EQ though and boost the high end a little bit. I'm going to maybe do a no mid type thing. I don't know. There's all sorts of interesting options we have when we do this. Okay, so I'm going to settle with that. I'm going to move the filter around a little bit. And I'm going to refrain from doing any post at this moment in time. So I'm just going to do something like this. I'm pretty okay with that for now. Let's turn it up. So that's kind of loud, but I want it up there for when I record. I'll slap an Edison on top of my master. That way later on I can just mute crap and record it, set it to on play, and because then it will create markers for when it plays. And all you got to do now is simply hit play. Cool, so we're good to go. Double click, so that's our perfect thing, right? So we're gonna delete it and put it in perfectly and drag it out. So now we have this. I'm not gonna save. Well, you could save it. I guess you could put it like over here just in case like later on you want to get to it. But for the most part, I don't go back usually all that often unless I like seriously want something new. I'm gonna open up another harmor. I'm gonna create a new one. I'm gonna call it resample 1. So when I'm working like this, though, I normally don't like label stuff this crazily. Like I just do me, and we're gonna, make some sort of interesting thing here. So you notice I stayed away from unison, chorusing, and stuff like that. And this one, I did it a little bit, but you'll see, because those types of things can make your sound really, really washy later if you're not careful. Now this is like sort of a thing that's specific to harmor. So it's kind of a cool deal. Get rid of that. And now I know that the piano roll C5 will be the bass note. It's 2 bars long. So... see right off the bat. Now there's a couple things we can do. First one is image high precision, and then I'm not going to touch the rest of that. We could turn this up to perfect though. It just helps with it. And we could get our stereo image back. There's some cool image things we could try messing with. Now we're going to get it a little washy here. We're going to fix that though later on with some distortion to sort of bring out some bite. It'd be interesting to see. Man, it's crazy. Okay. Now we could try doing the distortion here, but I'm a little hesitant to use anything in harmor for the distortion. Because that's cool and all, but it's harder to get really precise control. So what I'm going to do is I'm thinking of having sort of two versions of this. I'm thinking of having one with an EQ and a wave shaper stack, and maybe a compressor at the end, but probably not. So that's pretty cool. We even have that neat little whoa in there, which is a nifty sort of thing to have. Now, what would be interesting is if we could do the bandpass in here. Let's see if we change the EQ. I'm just going to move. So I'm going to automate these two knobs. I'm going to automate the slider. I'm going to automate this knob. And I'm going to automate this knob. And what note was my original thing at? A totally ignored key, which isn't always the best idea. And we're going slow. We're at 130. So I'm going to need to bump it up. We're at D. What the heck? We'll move around to D minor. D minor is... it's F. It's F. It's the rip off of F. D natural minor anyways. So we'll move around in that scale, sort of mess with that. Those are the chords we're going to work with. Okie dokie. So what the crap am I doing? Okay, so we have this. We've got our automations. They're automatically drawn out to whatever our last point is. It's, you know, it's whatever. We're going to put down our big rip. And these, we're going to leave that just over there. It's whatever. Not our big rip. We want the resample one. And so now we're going to get something like this going on. I really want to get that ew to really pop out there. So maybe we'll boost. Which one is this? Is the these are all four. We'll bring the width. Ooh, the width will be a hard decision because if you can't picture how this is interfacing with the EQ, you'll probably have a hard time understanding exactly some of the decisions we're making here. But if we bring it down, the width, we'll get a narrow peak, and then this is just the band. If we boost these two here and cut that one, we should bring it out. It's over here though. So now this over here, I feel like it could just be and now I feel like that's cool, but that we could have a little more action going on here. Towards the high end. So let's turn this down and go over here. I don't want to like go too crazy on that. Let's go into the EQ inside of it. And let's turn it back up so we can hear a little more clearly what we're doing. This is going to be a mess to mix later, so we may make some decisions now. So like sort of carve out some of the bottom end, but leave the sub in. There we go. This is a good move. Now let's go back to the performance. Let's change the scale back. Try changing the frequency. We could try automating that later, but for now, I think we have sort of a cool big rip. Yeah, a lot of these things are just hearing it out over and over and over. Okay, and then let's do some after the fact EQ shaping. So So we got sort of a cool big driving thing. We're only going to want, I think, the beginning side of this for now. And I'll keep it sort of as an automation thing right now, just because it may provide us with some interesting options. And remember, this C is actually a D. Very misleading. Yeah, let's add another, you know, I'm feeling it. Let's add another wave shuffle. Now let's focus on, let's get some drums up in this. I don't know why I did it like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the channel thing here, the channel rack. And for the drums, I'm going to go into, I feel like let's just throw some loops on there for now and see what we can manage with the loops. So I showed you about those break beats in the breaks video. So we're going to go to those because they're new and I think they're great. So yeah. I kind of like that. But I only want to get the two first hits. And then I want to layer in some of my own drums because that'll give me a lot more clarity. So these will be mostly for just like that. It is a different type of feel. I'm just inviting different sort of styles into it. Some people, I'm sure that's the thing. I haven't actually really seen anyone do this, but it's not like that crazy of an idea. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go through the Leviathan kicks because they have some cool ones. First off, let's make sure that these things line up just right. I am holding. Oh, it's not on. General. There we go. Now it's on. Middle mouse gestures is what I just, mouse movement gestures. It looks pretty on there. Looks pretty fun. I like this kick. And we'll just rename it Kick, not Rick. Yeah, we'll name it Rick the Kick. Yeah. Yeah, that's style right there. So we're going to go ahead and send this to 1, which is already on 1. And I'm going to go ahead and rename 1 Rick the Kick. Oh, yeah. And we go over here. And one thing that we do need to do is layer down our kick. Rick the Kick. We need a new pattern. Rick the Kick is the thing now. Okie dokie. So this has doon. Nope. It's like that. Do. Cool. We're going to turn this off for now. I'm probably going to end up changing the note on that. Maybe to an A or something. Oh, man. Let's just make a dope kick thing. I feel like we've got a cool sort of bass sound, but our kick will help. Coming up with a really neat drum loop will make it sound even cooler. So, what would be dope is if we did this and then we make this unique, make it one kick and reverse it. But then I got this weird thing. Let me just scoot it over to wherever there's kick. This would. I'm down for that. We'll do sort of a reverse rip off of what normally happens. So it's like do da. So do da. Do da. So it'll be like that. Oh, and let's speed it up too. Let's do that. It'll make a big difference too. Yeah, restretch them. So now we got to pick. This is one thing where samples I feel like do help a ton is when you get a snare from one of these things. So I'm middle mouse clicking and stuff. I've shown you some of these tricks as we've gone, so I'm not going to worry about it. So keep it consistent. Now that snare's okay. Let's find a couple other snares though. And let's make it unique as a sample, just so we have it something separate. So we're going to name it snare 1. What the heck? Snare 1. And snare 1, I'm going to go to unsorted. And I'm going to add it in the snare slot. If it will let me get there. Snare. I'll just leave it as snare. And instead of having it there, I'm going to put it in here. Just because it's a little more intuitive for me. So go. That's kind of cool. Now I'm thinking about this. The snare is it's not very punchy. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and go to channel 4. We're going to rename that snare and go to EQ. Now, okay, let's add a little bit of reverb, just a touch. Let's put it down and add in some Maximus. I don't really care too much about the low. I care about the high though. And it sounds kind of boxy because the mids and highs need to come up. Now I'm going to bring it in just a touch more. And I'm going to layer, I need to layer in some more stuff with this. Like there just needs to be more. So let's go back. Let's go through, let's go through the snares here. Snares are just something that, you see what I'm saying? Snares are just sometimes so difficult. This one sounds like someone just synthesized this, which is fine. Snare, you shift click to rename it. Snare layered, whatever. And I'm gonna put this one right next to this. So this is on 5. I'm gonna put it on 0, and I'm gonna move the big rip. Okay, here's something you can do. You can go to 7, and I want it to be next to my snare, right? So I'm just gonna shift. You hold down shift and you click. Now this could screw up your routing if you've got routing. So if you have like vocoders and stuff flying around, this could be a really bad idea. But for now, it works fine for me. Snare layer 1. And there probably will only be one layer. This one we're also gonna fix up. I like where it's going now. And then on this one, I want Rick the Kick. I want Rick the Kick to have a buddy on that second hit. You know what I'm saying? So let's go. That one sounds kind of cool. It kind of invites a sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put it on 2. We're going to name this just layer kick. And on 2, we're going to rename that layer kick. Okay, cool. And I'm just going to slap it on there and maybe do a little bit of EQ. I like the high end on it. That's kind of what I'm after mostly. I don't care very much about the low. Layer kick. And it sounds a little funny though. Let's try pitching it down like 300 cents. It sort of feels like 2 rolls here. So. Yeah, it's like this is something. You get a groove going. We need some hi-hat loops though. So we're gonna put high loop. Okay, so I don't want this to take up too much room yet. So let's go to percussive sounds. Let's just skip straight to percussive sounds. So I'm gonna go to the machine library. Something that you're gonna notice, you're gonna want to spend time just getting used to learning what things you have available. Because I kind of want to throw like bongos and stuff in there. Just get like really weird. So this thing has a weird, I don't like that. Some of the noise on that. Let's use this. Ah, junk. Did I just get rid of one of my layers? I totally just got rid of one of my layers, but luckily that's an easy thing to undo. So. Whatever. Menus are everywhere. I want that. Okay, cool. So it's all back. And now I didn't want that. Let's just throw in some bongo. Just get a bunch of interesting sort of sounds here. Let's throw in some, let's go for the hi-hats now. Hi-hats. These are always nice. I'm going to put the hi-hats above the bongos and stuff. And these ones were clearly made together, being enabled 1 and 2. So closed hat. Okay, open hat. Okay, with weird capitals. I'm just being weird. Let's just throw in some things that will sort of emphasize this. So we have do da. So we're gonna have do da. And then on this one, I'm gonna come in here. I kind of like that. It's kind of a cool thing. So let's drop that in there. Whoa, wrong tool. So we got sort of a thing going on. I'm going to just clone it for now, make it unique, more unique later. Let's make these lower, like an octave lower. Oh man, you know what? This is going to become a cool thing. I kind of want that like just occasionally, like just a little spice. Now the snare needs more upper end. It's not like popping. So I'm just going to come in here. Some of it's the fact that I shortened it up. So we have 2 snares, snare layer. Let's work with the snare layer. Okay, let's compress the snare layer too. Not a soft clipper. I wanted a Maximus. Okay, this stuff. This is technically just expanding, but whatever. You know what? We're doing whatever we want. So let's see here. C pitch down to an A. We'd have to bring it. Oh, well, it's a D, so we'd have to bring it down to a G to be an A. And then the intro to this sort of sound. Let's change I'm getting more of a feel of what we're going for now. I like the end. Just the beginning is sort of an interesting thing. Maybe we could change up the weight. No, I like that. Let's see here. Let's try mixing it up some. Okay, so on our Rick the Kick, we're going to use this as our main. You hold down Shift and click to do that. This can drastically change how things fit together too. So we're going to put on a limiter, compressor, Rick the Kick. I think having the double hit at the beginning is a bad idea for now. Let's record this and let's do some stuff with this. Okay. Now on this, turn the drums off. Okay. Record. Dang it. Didn't mute everything. It's easier if you just solo the things you want. I want those things. Record. Okay. So in this case, audio may just be easier to work with. Move this over here. I want to try some stuff with stretching. Bring it in. That sounds crazy. That's kind of cool. Let's stick with that for now. Let's do something like that. Oh, you know what would be really cool? Let's take the same thing, open up Harmor. We're just having a Harmor party today. So, okay. I just had to think a little bit. Let's take it. Let's make another one. Okay. And on this one, why aren't you working? Okay, we're gonna rock that. Or something along those lines. So maybe we'll start off with that. So it's normally we're gonna be working A minor instead of that other scale. So I'm gonna rock G. Let's move it over. We'll see if we use that later. Pattern 6. What we're going to do here is we're going to move the time. Speed as well. I'm going to need to go back and make major adjustments to pretty much everything. That's how the beginning of everything starts. Okay, so on this resample, this one's going to be live bass just because it's a live. And we're going to add a thing. Cool. Now, it's kind of interesting. Let's detune it down without partials. Okay. Bow. So I'm going to try and rock this sort of single bass line thing. we'll throw that in at the end. Who knows? Okay, so just experimenting. Now, this is obviously sort of a mess right now. So what's kind of cool thing to automate is this clipping option we have here. High threshold. See what I'm saying? So let's see what soft low. Yeah, it sounds kind of liquidy. I like the soft low most. So we're gonna create an automation clip for this guy. Get to my sequencer, maybe move it up here. Okay, so from there we're gonna create an automation clip. And I'm gonna just get rid of this. The high loop right now is just killing it right now. Maybe I'll use a sequencer or something, but now this is backwards, so it's a little weird. Wow, 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 wow. That's like, yeah, it's just weird to write automation for stuff like this. That's kind of a cool first sort of rip thing we have going on. Oh man. Let's keep these notes the same for now. I feel like switching it up's not a good idea. And then here we're gonna go to every other step. Do something like this. You know what? At the beginning, making radical moves like that isn't always a good idea. Let's just copy and paste this for now. Keep it simple. Yeah, I feel like adding in high will mess up what we're doing sort of right now. So we're going to leave it out for now. Here, we'll make this unique and we'll do a double pull. Now this should pull up. It feels a little unnatural. We'll do it in the meter though, so we'll do something like that. That way we have a smooth thing. Oh yeah, man. They're getting something that kind of grooves. Now this, I don't know. This will be interesting to see how that fits in there. That kind of does. We're going to need to make some adjustments to how this is. This doesn't have any other post going on. Let's rename it something. Rename. You just hit. All right, learned that. So rename. We're just going to name it like resampled bass. Hit Control L. Okay. So this guy, we're going to focus on him for a little bit. What we're going to do is I'm going to add an EQ to him. And we're going to do a band pass. Order type band pass. And we're going to automate him. So let's see here. 4 will be automated. Create automation clip. And he's going to stay in the same style of bass, just a different color. And then we'll have it do sort of one of these. Now, this, I want to distort it. And another EQ afterwards. Of course, I realize that my drums, like, I'm not happy with them either. In case you're like sitting there pulling your hair out over the way the drums are, they just serve as sort of a backbone for me to get sort of a rhythm type deal. Okay, now I want to put something else in here. Probably, let's try compressing it. Now I want to add some reverb after all this madness. And I want the low cut to be up. I just want it to be sort of high. I want there to be a decay of like 2.5 seconds. Sounds good to me. No, much shorter decay. That's kind of, you know what, I'm fine with that for now. Okay, let's focus in on this kick here. Let's try and make that better. So, you know, I'm not sure. I'll probably slap a sub in there at some point. Just a low tone. But for now, let's deal with Rick the Kick. You know what I'm saying? Rick the Kick just sounds weak. One other, so let's It's kind of cool that it has the beginning of that high in there. I guess it's kind of... So what I'm going to do at this point to sort of... Oh, let's name it. Let's just name it... well, let's just name it Neurobass for now. I know we should have some sort of an idea we're working towards. Okay, so there's a thing in here. If I can locate it called... Nope, not that one. I wanted... Replace with bass drum. Bass drum is cool. So we're going to layer that in there. Let's turn these off. I'm not digging the bass drum idea. That's this generally means that I have processing that I just don't agree with. Let's go into the EQ, turn it off. And let's get rid of the bass drum. Rick the Kick, man. Okay. Seriously, this is like, I know this is like, this is a thing that takes forever. Okay, let's go into the drums again and let's look for another kick. I want something really in your face. It sounds like it's got some of the qualities. I think we may have a winner. Let's see. Nope, it's not a winner. Oh, you know what? Let's just layer it in there. Let's put this in there too. Okay, now for the high loops, I'm going to settle with that for now. I'll probably come back and visit this again. This is one of those things that sometimes you get it right away, and other tracks, you just spend forever trying to get it right. So, okay, so we have... Now for the loops, I'm going to go to the breakbeats libraries, well, folder that I have, which is breakbeats, and I'm going to just select some... I'm going to select something like this, and I'm going to get rid of some of the hits, and I'm just going to go for layering it in there as a high loop instead of going crazy with all the other stuff. There's just a lot to think about for now. So I'm just going to sort of move stuff around and do stuff like this. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay. And of course, we haven't even broken out gross beat, and we haven't talked about, well, not talked about, but we haven't considered the implications of mixing yet. This one I'm going to make unique, and I'm going to reverse it just because I can. Oh, that looks kind of neat. It gets softer as we go. Yeah, but it's too much. Let's bring this, make another one right here, and change it to, I want 2 hits right there. There you go. This has got to be like our interesting sort of final meltdown. Okay, so this, I want this to be sort of an interesting deal. I'm going to rename this like, I don't know, backup loop. I want this to have an interesting spatial effect on our mix. I need to rename this too if I'm going to do that. That way I don't get lost. Control S. And I'm going to go ahead and put in a wave stereo enhancer. No, stereo shaper. My bad. And there's a cool, let's go to shrinked. I kind of dig it. So just a quick thing to give variation. Now we get to try and make these things interact with each other, which is another challenge on its own. So this thing, I feel like it's good. Let's see what it sounds like an octave lower. Nah, doesn't sound good an octave lower. Let's bring up the sub. Let's layer in a sub. You know what? I like how that is. Let's bring in a separate thing and just layer in a sub for right now. Whoa, didn't want to do that. Replace with Harmer. Sub. And this is a really simple deal. Just make a sub. Sounds like that's the note I'm playing, but it's not. Is it? Okay, wait. I'm playing a D. And if I want it to be a C, I need to play a whole step down. So A would be naturally a G. That's my reasoning on it. Unless I did something weird with the sound design that made it out of tune. And on this, I'm just going to leave it in there. It's just this small thing. Now this, if I leave it in there as a big tone, that's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's not going to fly super good. And I want to have a few harmonics in there. Okay, so I want to have an envelope on this guy where it starts out like that, goes, and it just turns itself down a little bit. Now, yeah, more mixing. So, okay, I don't know why I'm moving all these other ones. All I really need to do is touch that. Something that's kind of interesting is you could try lining up your sub with your kick hits, which could create an interesting effect too. So it'd be like, create some more space. But you don't. That's what we have going on right now. It's 1, and then on the and of 3 with a little 1. And then on this one, we can make it a big thing. Now this feels kind of small. So let's give it a little bit more room to breathe. Am I touching the right thing? Let me make sure I'm touching the right thing. It's live bass. I was touching the wrong thing. Go back. Man, I like that. Yo, I love that. That sounds cool. Now, let's take it with the wave shape. that. Just listening, a lot of listening. So this could be brought back now. So, oh man, I'm having mixed feelings about the loop now. It's just how it goes. Let's try, instead of getting rid of the loop, let's try adding in just a noisy sort of atmospheric layer. And one of the things I like to do for stuff like this is open up Absinthe. Before I open up stuff like this, I try to control save though, because it can backfire. And Contact's good for stuff like this too. And I don't have it loaded up yet. That's right. So we have to look for Absinthe. Okay, now we're looking for some sort of just a pad sound. Now, I am not like an expert at Absinthe quite yet, but I'm not looking to like mess with anything. I think that one might be it. I'm just looking for something as a cool layer. Like pad layer. I just want to make sure I have a separate thing for this. Okay. And I'm gonna... I don't want everything... Let's put some stuff up higher. It's one note stuff right now too though, so that could be part of my issue. I feel like these notes are weird. Yeah, I'm like somehow I've got weird pitch problems right now, which is okay, I guess. So for the sub, might be wise to. Now this is cool. Now I'm not totally digging the dragon thing. Let's go back. Let's just dig around a little bit. All right, that's more along the lines of what I was thinking. Now, again, we run into the argument between the kick and the things that are going on here. Part of it, whoops, didn't want to do that. Undo it. Okay, I wanted to do this. Okay. Fruity limitar. So the kick again. Oh my gosh, this freaking. Oh man. This is just an argument. We're going to write in variations and stuff later, but I think we've accomplished mostly what we set out to do for now. So instead of having this as a big thing at the beginning, let's try and make the beginning something less like wah, 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 and make it more of an intro rip. This is kind of a cool thing. Okay. Now I want to combine this with a filter. So what I have a favorite one. It is the Fruity Free filter. It's one that's not actually included by default. So you got to check mark it up, double click it, bring it in. I'm going to keep it as a low pass, turn the Q off, and create automation clip. I like it just because it's a super straightforward filter. So I'm not going to mess with this. What I want is to create space during elements instead of having this huge rip thing the entire time. I want to filter this part out and then bring it back up. Why do I feel like it's filtering without anything? It says it goes up to 1600 hertz. I wonder if that means it's not passing those upper frequencies. Huh. I feel like it is not doing that. I don't even know. Instead of doing this, I think what I'm going to do instead is use a delay. On 11, I'm going to make it unique. Yeah. Delayed. Delay bank. I'm fine with that. Should be fine. So let's mess with the rhythm some more. Let's get something that grooves better. Yeah, I make stuff safe, extra safe. Let's add a note, you know? Let's change some of the notes up. glide it down. This thing has a weird rhythm that will probably end up changing. I like what we sort of have as a sentence, though. Oh, I guess this is not using it. Let's do something like that. Now this is the fine speed, so. Okay, so now we come to this thing. I think it's just the wrong note. This is simply part of the problem. That, and it's got that reverb on it that I just don't feel like is fitting into the character very much anymore. Ooh, buddy. Okay, let's go in here. Let's mess with some of the EQ. I feel like some filtering. So we know it started as a D, and it sounds more like an F sharp when I play it at its original. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's filter this one. Instead of using the free filter, because it's not doing things that I'm super stoked about, let's use a low pass filter like so. We'll make it an order, steep 8, and we'll just go up and down like that. So, okay, we'll go boom, and we'll do something like this. I don't want to, it's already got sort of some of the rhythm there, so I just kind of want to aid it in some of what it's doing. And aiding it in its natural rhythm. Oh man, that's cool, but this is the wrong direction. I don't know. See how that fits. Looked at it so long that I may have lost my ability to judge it. That's pretty cool. I think it does fit quite a bit nicer now. Let's work on these pads a little bit. These pads are... they're cool, I feel like they could use some little embellishments occasionally, maybe from like Harmer. So I'm gonna make sort of a bell-like timbre. Use a band pass. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and just layer in a couple of those. I'm going to name this the bell. And then I'm not going to finish here. I'm going to also layer in a couple other bells from another thing. And so I know that it's going to hit on the and of 3. And so maybe I could write something sort of a... I don't want it to be right on the beat, you know? Maybe I'll embellish the snare. I'll emphasize it too. Sounds way... We're getting there. Yeah, see, the rhythm here, I messed up the rhythm. Okay. Then we could come down here. We could keep it simple. We just do like a... I just realized that these should be F sharps. Okay, so that's kind of a cool deal. And now I'm going to add in a contact, which I also need to search for. Find contact. Just this one for now. Just a little 5-out one. Okay, and on this one, I'm going to look for library content. Click to locate. I'll deal with that later. It's because it's a new thing. I know what. It's just because I got a new thingy. A new version of this. So in the orchestral library, I believe this is totally free. Contact Factory library, maybe not. I don't know. I never had to deal with it free because I just bought it. Orchestral percussion, not orchestral. It is Legacy VSL instruments, VSL, yeah, VSL, and go to percussion in this library. My bad. It's in one of these. Orchestral percussion, VSL percussion, VSL percussion. There it is. I like this Celestia. And then another thing you can do in the World Library, in the same thing, they've got a really cool Metallophones, I believe it is. Yeah. And then they've got a cool music box that sounds kind of creepy. We can mix in there. Turn this down. And then this Celestia, they have another one that is like a little... It's a little out of tune compared to the other ones. And what would be sort of interesting is if we came in here and hit reverse. Yeah. There'll be sort of like afterthoughts of what we're doing. This could be either messy or a really cool effect. So just a fun thing I like to do is pull crap like that on my listener. I'm going to enable this, the bell machine. What the heck? Make it cool, right? And I'm just going to layer it on there. So copy, paste, nothing crazy there. See what that sounds like. Now this is just too loud. Let's turn these down. Now on these, I'm going to go hit Control L and send them to my mixer as well. Oh my gosh, we're just going mixer crazy. Select them both, whoops, with Shift. Is it not Shift? Is it Control? I'm still getting used to my ability to Control Shift, and then you hit down, I believe it's Control, to bus them to the same spot. So you see now they're both bussed. We're gonna call this our bell bus. because I may want to process them separately later. And it gets rid of the ones to the master, which is really handy way of doing it sort of quickly. Getting better at those. I'm gonna add some reverb on them and bring out the dry. So my rips right now aren't forming a super solid rhythm. This is something that I just personally deal with when my style of composition, and I know that. So later on, I'm going to come in here because I don't know, maybe I'll try and do it right now, but I know that this is not going to be super solid. This is also, I'm anticipating being the drop. So I may be able to afford being kind of crazy here, but instead I may just throw something on here that has a very strong rhythmic pulse to it. I.e. just draw a new automation curve and get something that finally that jives. It's just a big, you know, I'm on a mission to create something that jives. And I kind of like this sort of offbeat type stuff. So yeah. Now we haven't thrown in effects yet. So let's move this stuff over. I know it's a long video, but like if you want to learn how to make drum and bass, this is just some of the crap you have to deal with. And I'm considering, I thought about doing it in principles, but I felt like some of these first videos, you probably want to see a feel for like how some of this stuff went down. Like some of the stuff I just happen to know where it's at. Other stuff I don't. Like I'm trying to just reveal as much crap as possible. Okay, so now we can go for impact sounds. Now I have a number of cool places to get impact sounds. I have a free impact sounds thing on my website. It's called Gloves Impact. You can download it. But I want to go through a sort of a more sophisticated library that I happen to have. And it is, in fact, I'm going to rename this Impact, just because I don't use it all that often and I paid freaking money for it and it sounds dope. So, you know, all those things combined convinces me I should use this. And it is the Action Strikes library. So Action Strikes, I'm going to use, this bothers me. I know where it is though. It is, click locate, browse for folder. It is in the D, no, it's in the documents. What the heck am I talking about? Documents. Contact instruments. Just browse that folder. I'm not gonna do this right now. Oh, fixed it. Okay, whatever, dude. I'm willing to bet it'll pop up again because I didn't click yes or whatever. But okay, so we have these things called hits. Action Strikes. There's another one in here that's really cool as Rise and Hit. That's actually what I was thinking of, but these might be kind of cool too. I gotta wait for it to load up the samples. I think that's kind of a cool sound. So I'm gonna call this like Big Hits. And I just want it at the beginning. So I'm gonna turn this up to friggin' loud because I don't care to mix to a level or do weird stuff with levels right now. You know what also might be a good, let's see what else is in here. We have, I like that. I dig that one. Now I could come through here. We could do so much more in here. We have all these effects we sort of have going for us. Bring down the reverb maybe. Okay. Pump the dynamics, bro. All right. I feel like it's just too complicated. We need to simplify things. I feel like we could have a second response right here. I'm hesitant to erase the, I have the automation over there. So maybe we'll just do something. And then picturing what I could put there, you know? I'm thinking of this. Maybe you're thinking the same thing. Big distorted saw. Yeah? You weren't thinking that? I was thinking that. I'm gonna put hammer. Name it the big distorted saw wave. DAW. The big distorted DAW. Big distorted saw. And I'm gonna label this, you know. And this thing, how long does this need to be? Like 2 bars or something? Yeah, 2 bars. Okay. Oh, you know what? We could do one of these. Whoops. I already had this thing selected, so I didn't mean to do that. So we'll do one of those at the end. Oh yeah, those are popular. Now this has, I'm going to do something special for this one. Now we're going to make this just a big distorted saw, exactly like what I made it sound like. Maybe like some sort of a Reese. Okay, not quite there yet. I want it, what note is this? We're pretty high up still, let's go down. One of the things that's kind of a cool thing to do is just to turn this on and off super fast. Just gives it a little more grunt at the beginning. Okay, so that's more or less where I kind of want it. Let's apply a little bit of post. Just get it out of the way of other stuff that's going on. Maybe make room for the kick right around here and over here. Bring this up. And I'm going to apply that fruity free filter and low pass, turn the Q off. No, this isn't what I want for this one. I want, get rid of this. Replace with none. Get rid of that confusing extra automation. Okay, on this one, I want specifically, because it's great for this sort of thing, the fruity fast low pass. Super awesome. It's great because it doesn't have any lag time between things. So I just want a simple up down motion. You see where I'm going with this? I hope you do. Let me just do something like this. Make unique. Cell, half step. Add in a couple more. Okay, now we can begin to mess with it a bit more now that we know the context it sort of kind of exists in. And one thing that's kind of fun to do with stuff like this is to do an internal filter deal. Okay, now it feels a little, I feel like it could use some more oomph, you know what I'm saying? So before the low pass, we're gonna add a distortion. The kick begins. Okay, so, and of course I'm sort of ignoring the snare right now, which I know some of you guys probably like, oh, what about the snare? Yep, I know. I'm aware of it. I know it's there. Gosh dang it, I want to get to the limiter. Okay, this video is kind of long, but figure. You'd be surprised how much cleaner this could sound with a mix down, but one thing I haven't messed with that would be sort of a very interesting sort of concept is the delay. So let's add a delay to this, which would be this. I like this delay. Turn this volume off. Okay, so, you know, that's pretty cool. Let's see if this even matters now. So I definitely have something, maybe this would be more suited for another drop sort of thing. What we can do to make it fit better is layer on another thing. Another EQ. Make it another bandpass since we're just going crazy with the bandpass bases right now. And move this around as well. Thought this came out faster. I wonder if we layer this in there, what that would sound like. Be sort of a prelude to whatever it is we're doing. This is part of that just sort of experimenting thing. Make unique. No, if I'm going to do something, I've got to make that sound happen by itself. It's a bad idea. We're getting breakcore now. I think here, this could be... I think don't now. I think don't now would be better. Yeah, this is becoming a very interesting sort of concept. Let's see. Wow, 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 wow. I feel like this coming after is like a little too much for what's happening in the track. That's kind of cool. That's the reverb. That's the reverb that keeps the wisp. That's kind of cool. I feel like right there we could have a break pretty reasonably, even. Wow, 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 wow. Maybe we could try doing something like this. Taking two pieces of it and then okay, so there's our complicated version. Now let's try something. Let's try one thing. Be kind of interesting deal. We're gonna clone all the other stuff except the basses. And I'm just gonna take pieces of the bass, and I'll take the sub bass too. And we're just gonna try and make a drop with just one sound. Oftentimes this tends to work out for me. It works out a lot better than sometimes I anticipate it to. Oh, wow, oh, wow, 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 wow. This one I'm going to repeat twice. And on this one, I'm going to make it unique. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. I'm going to try just changing the octave. The junk. It'd be interesting to come in here and do something like this. Have a ping at the top. I feel like this is almost better than that. Because you know how they have that, it's repetitive. They're not that complicated. I know I by nature get complicated. So for me, what I do is I just get complicated and then I just get uncomplicated, you know? Like sometimes it's just easier sometimes for me to work that way. And I got a whole bunch of sounds to sort of pull from as I go. Yeah, I think this one is just easier to comprehend, easier to do. I think it's got more room to grow. So I'm going to separate it just so I have it separate. But I think this is pretty darn cool. Like, thumbs up if you like it. Day. It is different than this sound. I'll explain a whole bunch of ways to mess with the timbre to get something that might be closer, and this is close enough to where you could get this particular timbre if you finagle with it for long enough, if you're like totally bent on getting that exact sound. So that's my sound. A lot of what he does in this track. So again, go look at this track in case you're interested.